How you listen? I can't be worried about mentions. Who ain't us? They could take how they wanna take it. Hey, Bruce. Hey, happy Masculine Monday. We talk about love today, y'all. Hey, everybody. I am so excited to be here. I am Queen TV. I am Regal Essence. I'm Queen TV After Dark. I'm Life is a Love Goddess. I'm Life is a Laidback Mom. I'm your crystal healer and dealer. I'm your hood therapist. I'm your ray of sunshine in the afternoon time. And I'm your past life princess. Hey, boos. So, it's so synchronistic that this song is on. Hating on our love. They want to see us fall. So, you guys, today we are talking about love languages, divine masculine. So, I was going to talk to you guys about 9 ways to know that you are chosen. Or I don't know. I was probably going to break it down to like 5, right? And it's going to be 9 anyway, but we was going to call it 5. But anyway, you guys, I'm feeling pretty amorous lately. So I am going to talk to you guys about the 5 love languages. So what is your love language, divine masculine? Do you know what your love language is? Understanding what your love language is so very, very important to healthy relationships, right? So, a part of my platform is to normalize healthy, sexy relationships, right? Because back in the day, whenever I was on Facebook, I used to just get so tired of seeing people put up all these memes about relationships and like all this low vibe toxic memes and stuff like that, right? So I got tired of it, right? So I dimed the phrase, let's normalize healthy sexy relationships. You know what I'm saying? And then the more I got into it, the more I started to learn about myself, right? And y'all know I'm the past life princess, right? So I resonate with the fact that in a past life I also did relationship counseling. I helped women with their relationships and find their mate and all of that stuff. So it makes very much sense. It makes a lot of sense why I am into relationships this lifetime and just helping us. Hold on, y'all. I got a piece of... I'm sorry, y'all. I had a piece of hair in my mouth. So it makes a lot of sense as to why in this particular lifetime I am very much into, should I say enamored with relationship therapy and just giving people the tools that they need in order, practical tools that they need in order to have healthy, sexy relationships. Because I feel like our relationships should be healthy, right? They should be healthy, meaning that we're not operating out of our traumas. We're not operating out of past life soul traumas, because sometimes, you guys, like the stuff that we went through in a past life, our soul still remembers that. Our soul still has memory of what happened to us. So sometimes, you know, we bring that into like this lifetime. Isn't that crazy? So like if you die of a broken, for example, right? So say in a past life you died of a broken heart. Like say, because I believe I had a past life where I was in a relationship, a very loving relationship, and I died prematurely, right? And my person eventually died of a broken heart, right? But they was a little bit of a player. But ultimately they died of a broken heart because, you know, I was the love of their life. So anyway, you guys, I said all that to say, we can actually bring in past life experiences into our current incarnation. Sometimes, like if you realize like I'm a player, like I ain't into that love stuff, like I gotta protect my heart, all of that kind of stuff, and it's like something like deep within you that you cannot get away from. It probably has something to do with some type of soul wound, right? So I don't know, like you might have died of a broken heart in a past life. So then you come into this lifetime like non-committal, I ain't with relationships, all of this kind of stuff, right? And then some men is just, they just toxic, okay? So I started Queen TV After Dark was my platform where we talked about normalizing healthy, sexy relationships, and we talked about everything, you guys, everything. So eventually, I will get back into my Queen TV After Dark bag, but I want to reformulate it. I ain't gonna put it out there because you know people be trying to steal my gifts and like block me and shit. But it's some tweaks that I want to make to Queen TV After Dark. But I definitely want to bring that series back because being able to be very candid and talk about our relationships and talk about things that we can do to make our relationships healthy, right? And a healthy relationship requires input, energy from both sides, right? Both partners have to be willing to work on things. Both partners have to be willing to kind of meet in the middle, be open-minded, be willing to change, be flexible, be understanding, be accepting, be non-judgmental, all of those things. So today we are talking about love languages. Understanding your love language is very, very important to a healthy relationship, right? And as men, my divine masculines, as men, men aren't always primed or encouraged to express their feelings, right? Or their emotions, right? Like it's taboo, right? But healthy, healed men can discuss their emotions freely, right? Or I believe if you struggle, because also too, this is kind of like piggybacking. So like last week we got into relationships and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, this week we going to stay, you know, we going to stay in the vein of relationships and things of that nature. So I believe also that there's certain levels of healing that you can only experience within a romantic relationship or within a romantic bond, right? So we do a lot of healing outside of ourselves, and what makes a healthy relationship is when two people come together and they both have healed from certain things in their life, right? And then there is a level of healing that will take place once the two of them get together, right? Because there's certain things that only, do I want to say only? I don't think I want to say only, but there's certain aspects of healing that can take place in a woman, certain aspects of healing that can take place in a man, that if you get with the right partner, they can initiate that level of healing, right? So in my video, when I talked about do good guys finish last, I talked about the fact that just coming into contact with a male or men that are different from the typical men that I have dealt with, which were very narcissistic, toxic, whether their narcissism was covert, meaning that, you know, they hid it, you know, it wasn't as blatant as somebody that is a overt narcissist. Nonetheless, that's what I was dealing with in a lot of my relationships, and just coming into contact with someone who didn't handle me narcissistically, that ain't even a word, but just coming into contact with someone that didn't handle me narcissistically was healing to me, like healing that I didn't even realize that I needed, but at the same time it was something that I prayed for, because sometimes I just be like, oh my God, like, Lord, if you don't show me something different, like, send my spaceship, like, beam me up, Scotty, like, pull me out of this joint, y'all. Like, I'm a starseed, so I know I'm not from here anyway. I'd be like, can y'all come get me? Come get a sister, right? But I know I'm here for a specific reason. You know, they asked for the boss, so you know they sent me. You know what I'm saying? Like in my Drake voice. You know what I'm saying? So I do realize that I have a purpose for being here, but nonetheless, as a starseed, at times the things that you see, the things that you experience with other people, it will make you be like, am I done yet? Like, and I'm not even, and it has nothing to do with being depressed or suicidal or anything like that. It's just like, yo, like, I'm not even from here, like, okay? But Earth is called Earth School, right? Because Earth provides us, just a little, y'all know I'm all kinds of coaches, right? So just a little starseed coaching. Earth is Earth school, right? And Earth allows for free will and a lot of different situations that would not be afforded to our souls had we only stayed on the cosmic realm, right? So yeah, so we're here to learn things that will evolve our soul. So that's why we go through trauma and things of that nature, because as you heal from those things, your soul elevates, right? So we're here to learn lessons. We're here to get it right this time. Some of us will reincarnate again. You know, we still got lessons to learn. And some of us is done. Like, I'm done. Like, this is my last lifetime, right? So I'm going out with a shebang. You know what I'm saying? You know how they send in, like, they be like, yo, it's going crazy. Like, we need our very best men. Like, we need our very best help. Like, we send in the big dogs. So, like, yeah, I'm I'm one of the big dogs, but like, I'm done. I'm done after this. Like, I'm gonna be floating on a star somewhere on Neptune, like bathing in blue water, like in Manteca, like, yeah, with my boo though. Like, don't forget that part, like with my boo, right? So anyway, you guys, happy Masculine Monday. We are here to talk about the 5 love languages. This is going to be short and sweet. My intro was way long, right? But we're talking about love languages today. Okay, so we already talked about the fact that men aren't typically, you know, praised or put in a position where they can share their emotions. Nonetheless, it's very important whenever you get into intimate relationships. It is very important that you have the ability to be able to express what it is that you need, what it is that you want. But I would dare to say, most importantly, what it is that you need. Those things are very, very important, because you can get in a relationship where certain things go your way, you're very happy with certain things, and then there's other things that you are not happy with, right? And in my opinion, and I'm sure you guys can agree, that is what causes infidelity. That's what, not everybody, some people are not faithful because it's just they haven't made up their mind to do so, right? They died of a broken heart in a past life, so like, they're very non-committal. They're very afraid of getting their heart broken. We talked a little bit about that last week whenever we talked about healing from the mother wound, right? So there are things we need in our relationships, and love languages. Understanding your love language is a great way to be able to advocate for what it is that you need in your relationships. Not just want, right, but actually need, okay? So I've talked about this before. This is probably like my 3rd time talking about love languages. Like, this is my shit. Like, I love this shit, right? So I read a book a billion years ago whenever I was married to my daughter's father, and it was very informative, right? And it made a whole lot of practical sense, right? So a man by the name of Gary Chapman, he wrote a book, The 5 Love Languages, right? Since then, he has gone on to write other books, love languages for children, love languages for couples, love languages for singles, all of that good stuff, right? So the premise, the underlying premise, is the fact that all of us as humans, we have a love tank, right? So the way that we get our love tank filled is that in our relationships, and it's not just restricted to your intimate relationships, it's just relationships overall. Within your relationship, you need certain things in order for your love tank to be full, right? When your love tank is on E, infidelity, right? Looking outside of the relationship for different types of emotional support, different outlets, things of that nature, right? However, if your love tank is full, you are going to feel fulfilled, right? It's going to it's going to charge you up. It's going to charge you up. You can kind of think of it like a battery, right? A battery charges you up. It gives you power. It gives you the ability to operate and do what it is that you need to do at your highest capacity, right? So if your battery is like half full, you're not going to be operating on the same, at the same capacity as you would if your battery was completely full, right? So same thing with your love tank. So there are 5 love languages: acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, giving of gifts, and physical touch, right? And we as humans, we have to understand what our love language is, and understanding what our love language is better affords us the ability to be able to advocate for what our needs are in a relationship. Okay, so men are not, typically all like mushy and like touchy feely and all of that kind of stuff. However, understanding your love language will give you the ability to be able to articulate to your partner what it is that you need in a relationship, what things are most important to you, for you to feel like your needs are met, for you to feel as if you are loved when you are in your relationships. Okay, so all of us have a love language. Some of us, as we get older, our love language changes. Some of us have more than one love language, but typically we operate from one primary love language, and then we have some underlying love languages as well. Okay, so you want to think of your love language is basically what it is. Y'all, my hair will not let me be great today. So you want to think of your love language as what it is that you need in your relationships in order for you to feel loved, right? And you can actually ask yourself this question in order to be able to come up with which one of the 5 love languages are your primary love language. Now, most men are going to say their love language is physical touch, right? And we're going to get to that whenever I break down what each love language means, right? So I personally feel like, whenever you're in the dating stages, if you're actually taking the time to date someone and get to know them, etc., and they're not just, like a sneaky link or whatever the case may be, I personally feel like talking about these types of things, like your first couple of dates or whatever, I personally feel like they are great conversation starters. They are great ways to get to know the person that you are attempting to get to know or attempting to get into a relationship with. Okay, so let's get into it. So, love languages, acts of service, right? So, if you have a love language, if acts of service is your love language, meaning if acts of service is something that you need in order to feel love. So what you want to ask yourself, or what you want to ask your partner whenever you are exploring what their love language is with them, is you want to ask them simply this: what things do you need in your relationship in order for you to feel loved, right? And you guys should be able to answer that question. If you can't, right? If you can't answer that question for yourself, then that's a problem, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that at another time. But you should be able to sit down and ask yourself, what things do I need in a relationship in order for me to feel loved, right? So, wait, no, I gotta talk about it now. The reason why that is a problem, if you cannot answer that question, it means that it kind of goes to show that you have not been true to yourself, right? And true to what it is that you need. And oftentimes that will happen. Oftentimes that happens to us, right? At different points in our life, before we get into our inner child healing and things of that nature, because oftentimes we are, those of us that have some type of childhood trauma or wounding, we are taught to basically be a people pleaser, meaning that we please everybody else outside of ourselves. So that's why we would have a problem with understanding like what exactly it is that I need in a relationship, right? Therefore, we have a hard time being able to articulate that to our partner when we're in a relationship. That's not good, because everybody should be happy. Everybody should be equally happy in your relationship. If not, there's going to be a problem. If not, you're going to look outside of the relationship. That's kind of how I think. Like, maybe all people don't start to look outside the relationship. Maybe they just stay in a relationship and they just be miserable and they just post memes on Facebook all day, like, about toxic shit. I don't know. So anyway, you guys, okay, so you want to ask yourself the question, what things do I need in my relationships? What do I need my partner to do in order for me to feel loved, right? Some type of variation of that question. Okay, so if you answer that question and you say something along the lines of, when my partner says this, that makes me feel loved. When my partner does X, Y, and Z, that makes me feel loved. When my partner touches me, caresses me, that makes me feel loved. When my partner gives me their undivided attention, that makes me feel loved. When my partner buys me gifts, that makes me feel loved, right? Some variation of those 5 statements, okay? So, acts of service. Acts of service love language means you need your partner to do things that... Oh, wait, let me back up. Let me give y'all the premise and the basis. Love languages. Okay, boom. Here we go. So, love languages, right? Notice the key term, language. So, imagine this. I'm Spanish, you're French, we get together, I'm talking to you in Spanish, you talking to me in French. Do we understand each other? No! Heck no! No, we don't understand each other. You speaking French, I'm speaking Spanish, right? So, oftentimes, that's what happens in our relationships, right? And we can't, like, and it's so crazy because men always joke and say, like they'll never understand women, and women are so hard to understand, and all of this stuff. And I don't agree, right? I don't agree. So, the thing is this. We have to speak the language that our partner understands, right? So, if my partner is Spanish, I cannot be talking to my partner in French, okay? So, we have to get that understanding of what our partner, like, we got to speak the language of love to them, okay? So, that's why you got to know what your love language is. You got to know what language you speak, right? So, what happens, though, oftentimes in relationships, we get into relationships and we are on autopilot, right? Meaning that we do whatever it is that we've always done in our past relationships, unless, of course, okay, some of us, we go on autopilot. We do whatever it is that we did in our last relationship, expecting that to work, but meanwhile, the last relationship didn't work, but yet we still doing the same thing, thinking it is going to work this time. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, right? Or some men, my divine masculines, you have learned from a past relationship what didn't work. So in this relationship, you are attempting to do something different than what you did before, right? However, you still want to make sure that you are speaking your partner's love language, and that your partner is well informed on what your love language is, so they can speak your language of love back to you. Okay? Boom, boom. So, with that being the case, some partners, they need their partner to do things that they like in order for them to feel loved. It's very action based, right? It doesn't have to be big actions. It could be like little things, like just being thoughtful, just being appreciative, things of that nature. Action, right? Other partners, they need their partner to speak words of affirmation. So words that are encouraging, words that are uplifting, words that make you feel good, tell you thank you, tell you how much you are appreciated, tell you that you are the motherfucking man or whatever. Words, right? Those words are very important. Quality time. Does she give me her undivided attention when we're together? Like, do I have her undivided attention? Is she listening? Do she tell me that she's listening to me, right? Is she not on her phone when we're sitting and talking? Is she not, you know what I mean, like scrolling on her phone? I need her undivided attention. I need her time. When she ain't busy, when she ain't doing nothing else, I need that. I need that. I crave that time. I crave being with my partner, having quality conversation, just, you know, just getting into each other, where it's like we block the world out. It's just me and her. Like, that's what I need in order for me to feel loved, right? Gifts is, you know, that's pretty self-explanatory, right? What's the other one? Acts of service, words of affirmation. Oh, physical touch. All right, let's get into it. All right, so most men may say my love language is physical touch, right? Meaning sex, right? Now, some men truly do have a love language that is physical touch, but physical touch goes beyond sex, right? How you know if your love language is truly physical touch is, do you feel loved by your partner, whatever they are touching you in a non-sexual way? Like when they grab your hand, when they rub your leg, when they rub your leg while you driving. When they're really, really affectionate, because everybody can't really deal with affection, because some of us have, growing up, we didn't get that affection. So what that looks like sometimes in adulthood, I had a girlfriend, it was just like, oh my God, like, stop touching me. Like, some people actually are not that affectionate, right? So yeah, so like, does any physical touch from your partner, like, does that make you feel loved? That'll cue you into that'll cue you in as to whether your love language is actually physical touch or not. Okay, so I don't know why I just got the case of the sillies, because this is my shit. So yeah, so what it looks like when you get in a relationship and a person doesn't speak your love language. Okay, so for example, at one point in my life, my love language was acts of service, right? So with my love language being acts of service, I tend to believe that love is an action word, right? So if you say that you love somebody, they should be able to see it by your actions. And remember, we said it doesn't have to be like big, right? So back then when I was reading a book and I asked myself the question, like, you know, like, what makes me feel love? Like little things, like when you hold the door, or at the time, like one day I got off work and my ex met me at the door. He had an umbrella to make sure that I didn't get wet, right? When I go home and like you vacuumed the floor, or you took out the garbage or something like that, like those things, that kind of stuff fills my love tank, right? Because my love language is acts of service, right? So I was one of those people, I'm like, action speaks louder than words. So then I tend to be very action oriented, right? So I'm doing. I'm a doer, right? But my ex at the time was a words of affirmation person, right? So if I'm speaking to him in actions, right, he doesn't feel as he doesn't feel, it's not like they can't receive love at all, but like what really, remember, we're talking about like what really like fills your love tank up, right? Like what really gets you like buzzing. You want to think of it like that. So I'm like, you know, actions speak louder than words. Like I remember getting into arguments and literally saying like, I mean, what do you mean? Like, what more do you want from me? Like, actions speak louder than words. I'm doing this, and this. Don't, when you come home, your dinner is cooked, like your house is clean, like right? But his love language was words of affirmation. So actually he needed me to be like, oh my God, like I'm so proud of you, like, you know, you went out to work, like you getting it, I appreciate when you do ABC, like he needed to hear it, right? But that little tiff, that little argument is a prime example of how we in a relationship, when we're not speaking the same language, we can clash. So one very, very big important thing to remember with love languages is when you're in a relationship, you choose, like it's a choice. So you choose whether or not you want to give your partner what it is that they need. So I could be like, actions speak louder than words, and I could just stick to that, and like I'm gonna be running around doing, but yet he's lacking something because I'm not speaking into him, and that is what he needs in order to feel loved, right? So say for example, back to the person who isn't into like affection and stuff like that. Damn, if you end up with somebody that like their love language is physical touch, and like you don't like all that stuff all the time, right? That is going to create a rift. That's going to create a void. That's going to create lack within your relationships, right? So that particular person may go out and cheat, right? Is he the bad guy because he went out and cheated? You know what I mean? Like, that's controversial, right? I personally believe you need to do everything that your partner needs within reason, that you got that you can physically and like mentally and emotionally do without it putting you at a disadvantage. I feel like you should do that for your partner, right? And if you're with the right partner, that is going to ensure that there is no stepping outside of the relationship, right? So if I have a problem with physical touch and I know my partner likes physical touch, then I'm going to have to figure out how to be more touchy-feely if I want the healthiest, well-balanced, charged up, buzzy relationship, right? So that is what we have to be very mindful of, that we are speaking our partner's love language, right? Because if you have a woman who her love language is acts of service, but you know, like, you got all this lip service and she just like, show me some action, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is going to create an issue, right? So y'all picking up what I'm putting down. So basically, divine masculine, you want to know, I'm trying to see how long I've been on here. Okay. So basically, divine masculine, you want to be able to identify and also be able to articulate in your relationships what your love language is. And if you're with the right partner, they should be able to give you what it is that you need in your relationship by being able to speak your love language back to you, however that looks like. So if it looks like pouring into you, she uses words of affirmation. And like, I believe that in our relationships, like, we need to get creative with the shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, if your man's love language is words of affirmation, like text messages in the middle of the day, little notes around the house, you know, shit like that, right? If his love language is acts of service, like thoughtful, appreciative shit, you know what I'm saying? If his love language is quality time, like, you're not on your cell phone and, you know, like, when y'all sitting talking and you scrolling on Instagram, you know what I mean? And vice versa, because I forgot, I'm talking to my men today. So if your partner's love language is acts of service, you are doing those little things that that will make her feel special, that will make her feel loved, right? Very action oriented things. It doesn't have to be big, like, you shouldn't wear yourself out. But another thing, with your love tank being full, typically that puts you in the right space to be able to give your partner exactly what it is that they need. So if they're giving you exactly what it is that you need, you're able to reciprocate that, right? So my ex at the time was somebody who he did a lot. So I just needed to add the words of affirmation onto the actions, right? So the words of affirmation coupled with the actions, boom, both our love tanks is full. We happy, right? Yeah. if they're healed and they ain't dealing with some other fuck shit, okay? Because obviously he's my ex for a reason. But anyway, anywho. So, yeah, you guys, 5 love languages. Divine masculine, I want you to make sure that you are educating yourself with exactly what your love languages are, so that you can articulate that to your partner, so that your love tank can be full, and then have your partner articulate to you what it is that she needs, what her love language is, so that you guys can be speaking each other's language. You can keep your love tank full, you can keep your battery full, you can keep your buzzy feeling, and everybody's happy. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you guys, that's all I got for y'all today on this Masculine Mondays. Do me a favor, drop me a comment. Let me know what your love language is. Let me know what your love language is. And I need you to share the video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, what you waiting on? Subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button so you know every time I post up. And what else? Remember, I love you. Peace.